next, I'd like to take a chance to go through and not only show what we've been doing along these lines of Web GIS and the web map, but also how our partners have been leveraging this functionality and expanding the solutions with Cityworks against our platform. And to help with that, I've asked Wayne Hill to come out to the stage.
Thank you, Becky. Just like Becky said, today I'm going to show a couple scenarios of different partners and how they're using our platform to extend Cityworks into their systems. Now, for my first example, I want to look at asset management. And as many of you know, asset management, when we say that word, can be a little complicated sometimes. So what I've decided to do is bring a couple friends with me to help explain how you can deal with asset management. So I'll turn it over to them.
Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. You get it. We both have layers.
Oh, you both have layers. Oh. You know, not everybody likes onions.
Cake! Everybody loves cakes. Cakes have layers.
All right. So asset management, just like ogres, just like onions, and just like cake, have many different layers. And so I want to show you some of these layers today. We're going to start by looking at a company called Cyclomedia and another partner of ours called Assetics. With Cyclomedia, their solutions, they offer 360-degree image that's georeferenced to a location. And so we're going to go in and open up Cityworks here. And as you can see, we're bringing over and opening our map and seeing our system of record data. On the left side, our inspections that we have, but also on the GIS side, here in the Washington, D.C. area, we're looking at our GIS and system of record there. And so we'll go in and change the base map, and then we're going to open up our legend here and grab some of our authoritative data, which is our street center lines. With our street center lines open and turned on and selectable, we'll go ahead and select a segment here next to the Verizon Center. Now that it's selected, we can go ahead over to the Cityworks side and create a street inspection. So as you can see here, we're going to do new, and it opens up, and it automatically sees that we have a street center line selected, and we're going to do a new inspection. So with our new inspection created, we're going to, of course, put in a little bit of information before we go and do the work. So we're going to put in who it's going to be submitted to, who's going to do the inspection, and the actual date of that. Now, at this point in time, we could have our individual go out next to the Verizon Center there in DC and do the actual inspection by observation, by field observation. But how about if we do it a different way? What if we use the Street Smart View plugin from Cyclomedia? Don't leave the office, especially when it's December, February, January. Instead, we can look at and see what our imagery shows us as far as the actual deterioration of our roads. So as we go to the north segment here, we can zoom around, and we can see that we have some potholes that are starting to begin. We also have some linear cracking in different areas. And we can take this and then go and look at the southern end of our intersection here of this segment. And we can gather and look at the same type of information. So at this intersection, we also have some pothole looking to be created, and we also have alligator cracking. So once again, I'm not out in the field. It's not cold. I'm back in my office. I can go and close out my inspection and by adding in my observations here. So we had a little bit of potholes, quite a bit of cracking, linear cracking, and some patching. So with that, we'll go ahead and save our inspection. And you'll notice that now we have our condition score. So we have more authoritative data that we're looking at. So once we have our condition score, where can we go from there? With the Assetics solution, you can take condition score, likelihood of failure, and consequence of failure, and also looking at your current work activities and start to plan out and figure out a budget. And then put a plan in place so that you know what you can do to help make your roads better. So what we have here is a graph showing if we use our current budget coming out of Assetics, what a 75-year plan would look like for our roads and our streets. we can also look at it from another graph. We can see, if we keep our current budget, that's what we're looking at. If we reduce it by 20%, that's where we're going to be. Or if we increase by 20%, here's where we'll be. But we're GI-centric, right? We don't want to look at just graphs. How about if we go this route? So now, here's my current budget, and I can actually see my streets in a web map and what their condition ratings are. And I can see if I had, through a 20% reduction, what it's going to look like and how my streets will be with a reduction in my budget. Or if I increase it by 20%, what we're looking at. And this is all these models and these algorithms are coming out of Assetic and being driven and put into the web map. And then lastly, if we go back, you can take our plan, which we chose to do a 20% budget increase here, and create a heat map of your work activities and see if you are on target, if you're on line with what you proposed in your budget. If not, through Assetic, you can always just rerun your calculations and look at your work activities again to get back on track. For our second scenario, we're going to switch gears here a little bit. We're going to talk about a company called Valarm. But before we talk about Valarm, I want to talk about something called the Internet of Things. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard, hopefully, a little bit about what that word means. My wife and I, in our house, we're actually having some remodeling done. And as part of that, we're getting a new fridge. Well, we're out looking at the fridges. Did you know you can buy a fridge that has a camera inside the fridge that is set up to work with on your phone, so that when you're at the grocery store, you don't have to call home and say, hey, are we out of milk, or how many eggs do we have? It'll tell you automatically for you. Pretty cool, huh? Of course, there's also things like the Nest thermostat that it adjusts temperatures and ranges based upon your walking patterns inside your home. And I'm sure quite a few of you have smart watches on you right now at this time. So has the Internet of Things been around for a long time? It really has. Maybe it was known as a different name, say like SCADA. SCADA systems are used in sewer treatment plants, water facilities, and also maybe say in your electric and your gas substations and facilities also. But what about maybe air quality? Think of that. Internet of Things with air quality. So for our example scenario here with Valarm, that's exactly what we're going to show. Valarm offers a solution that enables you to take a sensor and hook and engage it into their software. And then once you've done that, you can go in and set up alerts. And so we're showing here their configuration page. It's very simple, very easy. You just enable it. If you notice there on the type, it automatically has one set for Cityworks. You name your reading. So we're going to do air quality. And then it also just needs to know, since we're doing this against PLL, it just needs to know what type of case it needs to push through our APIs for. And then lastly, you set up what your calculation input is, the thresholds for it. So we set a threshold greater than 200, and then you save that. Now that we have that saved, it's running, it's connected to that sensor. So you'll see here in just a few seconds the readings coming off of that sensor. And as you can see here, it reached 468. So that's above our threshold of 200. And if we go into PLL, we see that we have now created a case here inside of PLL where we have an inspection of air quality. And you can see that the information from Valarm has come over into this. Just so happens that this case, this air quality permit, also has an inspection assigned to it. So we can go in to our calendar view, select our inspectors, add them to the calendar, and take that air quality inspection and drop it right into the schedule for Valarm inspector to go out and to do further investigation. And just to show you that I'm not playing tricks with you on the calendar, here is that inspection right here. Be assigned out to Valarm with a target start date. Now, being GIS-centric, it's a lot easier to look at and view this from a map, right? So here we see in California, on the north end of Los Angeles, readings coming off of air quality sensors and the concentration areas. And then we have here different permitting inspections for air quality. For my last partner scenario, what we'd like to do is show latitude geographics in Cityworks. Latitude geographics makes a product, a solution called GeoCortex. And for our presentation here, we're going to show GeoCortex Essentials running with AGOL and with our enterprise URL. So here we are, logging into ArcGIS Online. Of course, we'll need to sign in. And as you can see here, we're using a single sign-in to the with the GeoCortex account. We can look at our content here, and we notice that we have a Cityworks web map here created. We can open this web map, see the information from our base map, view infrastructure data as well here. So you can see that we have lines, we have zoning information, hydrants, all of this in our web map here. So the next thing we're going to do is log into Latitude GeoCortex Essentials solution with that same single sign-on. And what we're going to go here is we're going to do is add a new site. So inside of GeoCortex, we add a new site. We're going to name it Cityworks Conference 2016. And we're going to reference a web map from ArcGIS Online or from Portal. So we go in here and we say next. We're going to search for that web map. Here's our Cityworks web map we were just looking at. We select that. We go ahead and say next. And then it's going to create our site for us. Once we have our site created, the next step we're going to look at is viewing that information, but then also we're going to go here and look at as far as the Cityworks side of things to bring it into the same web map. So here we have our saved search for open work orders in our inbox. As we've shown and talked about quite a few times today, we have our enterprise URL, or URL as we like to call it, in our saved searches. So we go to our open work orders, save search, and we go to our link right here for our service for our enterprise URL. We'll go ahead and copy that link. We'll go back to GeoCortex Essentials, and we can drop that link right into it. So we drop the link here. It recognizes it. Says that it's a work order service, shows you an overview of it, and then we can go ahead and add that service, that map service to the map. Pretty cool, huh? So now you're looking inside of GeoCortex Essentials at a web map showing infrastructure data, also showing Cityworks work order information. So we're going to do one more thing here. We'll go ahead and save our site. And the last thing we're going to do is just create a simple viewer. So we go ahead and add our viewer in. We'll go ahead and give this a name as well for the Cityworks Conference 2016. Say OK. And then the viewer will come up here. And the thing that we're going to do here is we're going to publish this viewer back to ArcGIS Online. So we go ahead and select the publish. Go back to our ArcGIS Online. You see nothing that's in there right now for that says that. Refresh. And you will now see that we have a Cityworks Conference 2016 web mapping application inside of ArcGIS Online. No logging out multiple times and logging back in multiple times. It's right there. So we'll go ahead and view this. And as you will see, here's that same web map with the infrastructure data with the Cityworks Enterprise URL work orders. I'd like to let you know that all of these partners are here at our conference today, and they are exhibiting in the expo hall. So please take time to stop by their booth and get more detailed information. Thank you very much.